After years of silence and dwindling support, Armored Warfare on console is officially coming to an end. On June 30th, 2025, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions of the game will be permanently shutting down, making the quiet collapse really sad. What once had true potential in a competitor in the armored combat genre is officially coming to an end on console. While the PC versions will obviously remain online for now, the console ports are finished. For anybody paying attention, this is really no surprise. For many of us who followed the game closely, their signs were here long ago before the formal announcements. Updates slowed to a crawl, communication with the community became non existent, key quality of life features that could have saved the game, like crossplay, were never implemented. And player queue times became 3 to 5 minutes, especially for PvE, which is not good at all. So, as far as the console goes, I think anybody who followed the console ports closely knew what was coming down the drain. What makes this really sad is that Armored Warfare had the most innovative ideas as far as its competitor would have been World of Tanks Modern Armor. War Thunder and Armored Warfare would never be able to compete because obviously War Thunder is a whole different beast on its own. But as far as comparing it to World of Tanks, you know, Armored Warfare on console had a fully functional testing range for every vehicle, premium and tech tree. It had the ability to rent premium tanks for 3, 7, and 30 days, which is awesome. It shows that at the time they were willing to compromise between accessibility and monetization, and the tanks in the tech trees are clearly way ahead of their time, even if you compare some of them to War Thunder. Armored Warfare PC and console have things like the Ramka 99 and the Terminator 2, great Russian heavyweights that would look really cool in War Thunder. For me personally, even with Armored Warfare PC, it's the small things that make it stand out, like vehicle handling, especially for something like the wheeled vehicles. I feel like they've always had that locked down and it feels really, really refined and good. And my personal favorite thing that really stood out to me was IFV gameplay. Things like the BMPs, you could deploy infantry units that could do recon or launch mortar strikes. That combined arms sandbox style and flexibility doesn't exist anywhere else as far as the console goes. Now, War Thunder has been doing April Fools and, hinting at infantry maybe coming into the game, but we'll have to see if that, actually materializes and happens. So, what went wrong? Honestly, it just feels like they gave up too fast on Armored Warfare in general. I feel like it never saw instant success, and rather than them committing to growing the console and PC audience, it seems like, the developers cut their losses and walked away. From day one, the console versions of the games looked underwhelming. Even at launch, the Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game, I feel didn't really look polished to what those consoles could have done. It's almost like it was running on an outdated engine as far as the console goes. And yeah, I don't really know what happened, whether it was internal management or just a lack of of confidence in the console ports. It just never seemed like they supported it to its full potential. I think timing played a huge role in Armored Warfare success in general. World of Tanks console had already been established for years on console, and War Thunder had recently made its move. I think it had already been on console for 2 or 3 years at that point. And Armor Warfare was trying to carve its own space in a market that was already saturated with titles that were good. And in hindsight, that was probably the death sentence right from the beginning. Had launch, if this game had launched today on console with strong graphics, good performance, and a good identity and good support, it might have done far better than what it did when it first released at that time. Right now, many people on console are looking for something new, but there's really nothing else but World of Tanks Modern Armor and War Thunder at the moment. Um, we had the beta for Project CW, and it looks like that might come to console. So we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds with that. I think when things like this happen, it's sad for the players who invest time and money into these games. Personally, I didn't go all in because I saw the writing on the wall right from the beginning. Um, but I know plenty of players who I played with who bought premium tanks and really spent serious time and money in the game to build up a collection. Now it's all being wiped away, and even though the PC ports still technically exist, it doesn't. It's not exactly thriving. Um, After publishers from My.Games, I think they switched it to a new studio, and the player count is extremely low, and it's just not doing good. It's a former shell of what it used to be on PC, also. The whole situation feels like a cautionary tale, and one we're seeing more and more now. Even the best ideas, most creative mechanics, most passionate communities can't save a game in the free to play space without consistent support and a clear direction from the developers. As more of these live service games shut down, players are becoming more hesitant to invest, especially as far as financially goes in these free to play games. Once you've been burnt, it's hard to trust the next game that is asking for your time and wallet. And this is a sad thing to continue to see happen. What makes this whole situation kind of questionable to me personally is that I've known about this shutdown probably for a month or two before it was announced. And I've been trying to capture footage for the last month and a half, to make a final video, go live one final time, and I haven't been able to get into a single match. At first, for a while, it would just say server disconnected as far as the Xbox goes, and you could not get on. You couldn't do anything. Now it seems that you are able to get into the game. You're able to go into the testing area, view your tanks, do everything as far as that goes. But if you try to click into a match, it's almost like the A button doesn't work on your controller. It just downright refuses to go anywhere past that. So even though it's not supposed to shut down until the 30th, the game might as well be shut down already if you're not letting players into matches. Despite all the negativity around Armored Warfare, I feel like it deserves some credit. In many ways, it was ahead of its time when it released. A lot of features introduced years ago are now starting to creep into World of Tanks, Modern Armor, and War Thunder. Whether it was intentional, influence, parallel evolution, you can see traces of what Armored Warfare already did in the past. And I feel like that really says something. So, who do we blame here? How did Armored Warfare in general, PC and console, end up where it is now? To be clear, I can't blame Obsidian. I feel like Obsidian Entertainment, when they were involved, Armored Warfare had a clear direction, and it had potential and a vision that stood out. They introduced mechanics and systems that were way ahead of their time, when the game first released. Personally, I feel like everything changed when My.Games took over. From that point forward, the decline was inevitable. And by the way, I'm gonna be a complete asshole here. If this game on PC wants to see success and not die like the console port, make an NA server. I'm getting really tired of getting into matches and having really bad lag spikes and getting kicked out of matches and, my teammates telling me they were able to finish. This is a really big problem. It's hard to invest any money into this game, which is the whole reason it's in the state it's in general, because people are not investing in this game. Player counts on PC are sometimes in the hundreds, if you're lucky. They really need to add an NA server if they want to add a few hundred to a few thousand players. I feel like that would be an investment worth their while. With that being said, play Armored Warfare PC if you're in North America at your own petty expense. May Armored Warfare finally rest in peace on console. The war, at least on this front, is over. But my hope is that even though the console version lost the battle, that the PC port could find its footing